On May 7, 2005, a military quick response team was sent to assist a unit under heavy fire in a small town in Iraq. But before they could reach their fellow soldiers in trouble, the quick response team drove straight into a brutal ambush, leaving several dead and destroying half their vehicles. The rescue convoy consisted of about 20 soldiers manning a 7-ton truck, 3 Humvees, and 2 tanks, and they were approaching the war zone. As they were approaching the war zone, the soldiers noticed something odd. The area was empty. There were no civilians outside, nor any movement inside the surrounding buildings. Suddenly, they were hit with an unexpected attack. A van filled with explosives came speeding out of a nearby alley and detonated near the convoy. 3 of the 6 rescue vehicles were instantly decimated, and 3 Marines and a Navyman were killed. 10 others were critically wounded, leaving only 5 soldiers uninjured. Even worse, enemy combatants were now raining fire on them from windows, doorways, and rooftops. Thinking fast, Lance Corporal Todd Corbin positioned his 7-ton truck between the wreckage and nearby hostiles. The truck provided an effective barrier from the incoming gunfire. However, 5 of his injured and deceased comrades were still in the open, exposed to enemy fire. So, Corporal Corbin did something that most would consider insane. Armed with only a handgun, he sprinted several feet directly through enemy fire. He stopped at his critically injured patrol leader, picked him up, and slung the full-size man over his shoulder. He then ran back towards the armored truck, using his free hand to fire back at the enemies. Once safely behind the truck, he placed his patrol leader in the back of the vehicle and immediately sprinted away towards another fallen soldier. With bullets hitting the ground around his feet, he fearlessly scooped up another comrade and opened fire again while running back towards the truck. Meanwhile, Corporal Jeff Schuler climbed on top of one of the Humvees. At the top sat a mounted automatic rifle. The corporal grabbed hold of it, pulled the trigger, and began furiously swinging the gun back and forth. He unleashed a torrent of rapid fire in the enemy's direction, taking down as many as possible. The gunfire also served as a distraction from Corporal Corbin's rescue efforts. Corporal Schuler did this for over half an hour, switching to lower caliber weapons when his automatic rifle ran out of ammo. Meanwhile, the rest of the troops gathered in the back of the armored truck. Once in, those who weren't too injured to fire a weapon began shooting back at the enemy as well. About 15 minutes after his second trip, Corporal Corbin made a run for it the third time. He ran several meters to the next incapacitated soldier and attempted to hoist him up. However, several hostile gunmen had already zeroed in on him. They began closing in, firing at him with semi-automatic weapons. Without hesitation, Corporal Corbin used his body to shield the wounded soldier from the oncoming fire. At the same time, Corporal Schuler eliminated several of the insurgents while the rest took cover. Corporal Corbin quickly got up, grabbed the fallen soldier, and carried him back to the armored truck. Exhausted, he stayed behind the truck for a few minutes to catch his breath. Meanwhile, the rest of his troop was delivering waves of bullets to the enemy combatants, eliminating them one by one. When the enemy fire died down, the corporal took off running again. He picked up soldier number 4, again using one hand to carry and the other to fire at the insurgents as he made his way back. He pushed the soldier into the truck, then took cover behind it to await the last trip. By then, Corporal Schuler was on his last bit of ammo. If Corporal Corbin took too much longer, he'd have to resort to throwing explosives or using his AT-4. AT-4s are anti-tank weapons similar to rocket launchers that aren't typically used to take out enemies. But it would be soon if Corporal Corbin didn't finish up within the next few minutes. Corporal Corbin exploded from behind the truck again, running as fast as he could to grab the last soldier. The troops at the back of the truck expended the last of their ammo as Corporal Corbin dodged gunfire and dove behind the truck with the last soldier. He loaded him in, followed by Corporal Schuler, who was now using his 9mm. Meanwhile, the whole team was sticking their rifles out of the rear of the truck and firing them in the enemy's direction. Corporal Corbin later recalled that the truck looked like a porcupine with all those weapons sticking out of it. Once they were in, Corporal Corbin immediately hopped back into the driver's seat. By that point, the truck had 3 flat tires and a radiator full of bullet holes. But the corporal was determined to get his team out of there. He kicked the truck into drive, and miraculously, it revved forward. The corporal sped his team out of the danger zone and didn't stop for 5 miles. They eventually reached a battalion aid station, and the injured were unloaded from the truck. The wounded soldiers were given emergency aid, while the rest of the team kept watch in case they'd been followed. Fortunately, they had not. Thanks to Corporal Corbin, everyone besides the 4 soldiers killed in the initial explosion made it back alive. When he returned to the United States, Corporal Corbin was awarded the Navy Cross, a high honor for his selfless heroism. In 2022, he was also inducted into the Military Hall of Fame.